Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today we're going to be answering your questions. We're going to be going through, obviously it's not quite winter, although it is approaching quickly, and I'm just going to go through your comments, help answer any questions that you guys have about skis. I feel like in the winter I don't really get a good chance to do this just because it's so busy. There's so many skis to review, there's so many like different videos I'm trying to make. It's kind of a grind during the winter, but I know that that's like when stuff is more relevant to you guys. But this is a good time to just slow down, answer specific questions that people have, help out you guys, because without you guys, I wouldn't have a channel. So just want to give back, take a minute and answer all of your questions. Before I jump into those questions though, can we just talk about, there are so many skis. Like there are so many ski models, and then there's a ton of different ski brands, and then there's a bunch of like smaller ski brands, and then each of those brands has a lot of models. I was talking with this on a bike ride with Zach yesterday, and I was like, it can't be expensive to develop a ski or to test a ski, because otherwise there would not be so many different ski models. Like look at cars, right? If a car model doesn't do well, they get rid of it pretty quickly because it takes a lot of resources. There's a lot of money that goes in R&D into cars. But with skis, I think that there's so many variations of one ski, like there's so many different widths, there's so many different things that they play with, that man, I just like, now that I've been reviewing skis for a year and a half or 2 years now, and I guess I reviewed them for a year before that too in written form, there are just so many gosh dang skis, I cannot believe it. But anyway, that's my rant about ski makes and models. For me, the big challenge is trying to like funnel down and figure out what's important to you guys. That's why I love the comments that you leave, because it helps me kind of zero in on what people actually want to know about. Because you could go on a wild goose chase looking for various different skis that no one would really care about. So anyway, another thank you guys there. But without further ado, let's jump right into your comments. Okay, the first comment comes from one of our members, Roger Bradshaw. They say, okay, Elliott, you must rip on Forecast Ski Test. I would compare this ski to the movie. Really? That's supposed to be helpful? Their stuff doesn't really come across to me as a ski test. They have people strap on a ski for 2 or 3 days and then talk about how it can do everything. No comparisons to other skis, no negatives, no really useful information in my opinion. Okay, I actually have got about 6 or 7 comments asking me about Forecast skis. They must have dumped a bunch of content because it seems to be kind of swirling around. I'll go through and look at it. I did watch one review of the QST blank, and the person, I think, if I remember right, they were saying, this is a ski I would recommend to my elderly parent. This is a ski I would take anywhere. This is a ski that would be a great daily driver. Something to that effect, where they're like, oh, this is a ski I could ski year round. And I cannot understand that. I skied the QST blank, and that ski is so wide, and with that kind of like surfy shape, it actually felt really uncomfortable on my hips. You don't get as much of the distinguished QST shape as you do as like a 106 or a 98, 92, etc. I like the QST blank. I could see using it for cat skiing or for really big powder, but honestly, it does not have as much of the fun character as the QST 106, so that was wild to see. Also, like, maybe I would never recommend that ski to my dad. My dad loves skiing, he's a good skier, but the QST blank is just so much to move around and so hard on your hips. I don't know, I got the kind of the same vibe from their review. I'll look into it, see if there's anything there. The problem with their reviews is that they're so short that there's not that much to critique. And I will say, one of the other reviews, when they were talking about the QST blank on powder, I felt like they were actually pretty well versed with talking about the positives of the ski, but I agree. There was no negatives, there's no comparison. It was a very odd review. I'll look into it, I guess, is the short answer. All right, then I got 2 comments. Well, the first was from Adam. They said, not to be a nag, Elliott, but that Prime drink isn't any better than the Red Bull you promised to give up. It's only because I care. All right. You are right, actually. I stopped drinking Red Bull because of just the optics of Red Bull, like, really injuring, not directly, but pushing skiers to go bigger and bigger and bigger. And I really dislike that in the ski culture. And Prime now is also, like, the owner, Logan Paul, is awful. There's been some big controversy with them promoting, like, kids' lunch that like have not a lot of good stuff in them. And then also there is a lawsuit for a crypto scam that this person did, where there was another YouTuber that was investigating them and they decided to go through a lawsuit. So the prime is out. Here's what I'm drinking now. It's lemon elation yerba mate. I used to drink these back when I was a new parent because they have a ton of caffeine, but I stopped because they raised the price of cans to like $4 or $5 during COVID, which was just outrageously expensive. But now they're at my local grocery store for just over $2. So I'm back on the train. I'm sure it'll come out soon that the guy who owns this is a mass murderer based on my luck, but for right now, this is what I've got. But I appreciate you guys leaving those comments. I was doing prime just because it had less sugar, and I was doing the hydration one that didn't have the caffeine, but I can appreciate it. I really try not to support miserable people. It becomes really hard to do that, but when I can, I try to. All right, the next question comes from Towhead25. Okay, what would you recommend for an advanced dad skiing with kids learning and with friends doing everything, looking for a daily driver? Live in Utah and will ski all conditions. I tried the Unleashed 98s and the Elan Playmaker 101s. I didn't like the Playmakers as they weren't great in the crud at the end of the season. The Unleashed 98s were fine. I've got my eyes set on the Blackcrows Atris. What do you think? That is a really hard question to answer because it really depends on what you want the Blackcrows Atris to do. Are you looking for it to be like supplementary to your Unleashed 98s, where you're going to keep your Unleashed, maybe get rid of the Playmakers and get the Atrises as something a little more powder oriented or a little more off-trail oriented? Or are you looking for something to replace your Unleashed 98s? There's so many things that go into that question. And like, you don't like the Playmakers because they're not good on crud. So are you looking for a crud cutter? I don't know. I mean, I love the Blackcrows Atris. I think it's a really excellent ski. You're on the right path because you've picked a good ski. But then again, like, are you skiing on that ski with your kids? I don't know how much fun I would have on the Atris if I was skiing with my kids, because the Atris is a very sendy ski. It's a very aggressive off-trail ski. It's gonna push you to like take faster, more fun lines. It's one of my favorite skis that I skied in the powder this year. But, you know, I've got young kids, and when I ski with them, I ski on my Atomic Maverick 88 Ti's because the terrain we're going on is pretty flat, so I want to be able to make short radius turns. So it really just depends on what you want. If I were just not reading what you liked, I would maybe say, okay, try the QST 92 for a daily driver, something a little bit thinner, or the QST 98 that you can kind of enjoy on trail and off trail. It's got a healthy mix. But if you're like, man, I really want to enjoy Utah, I want to have a ski that's just for me going off trail, or hey, my kids are older and they're, you know, like I ski with my daughter and she's a good powder skier now. So there's just so many variables and I'm not quite sure what to tell you. If it were me and I was looking for something like that, I don't know, it just depends on what you want. I don't have quite enough information to make like a hard recommendation. There's so many skis that like suit different needs or prioritize different things out of the ski. If I was like to tell another parent, hey, you're gonna go ski with your kids, what would I get? I mean, I ski in my Mavericks with my kids, maybe a Maverick 95 Ti. You could get a Bent 100, those are pretty fun. The Horizon Tech kind of allows it to punch above its width as far as flotation goes. A Meyer Wrangler actually would be really fun with kids where you want to go off trail and kind of enjoy parts of Utah. A Blizzard Rustler 10 is a good option. There are so many things. I really would need more information. If you're looking for a crud cutter, like a fun ski, because you said that that's what you don't like about the Playmakers, check out the new Nordic Enforcer 99 for 2025. Make sure it's 2025 or newer, but those are really fun skis. You could also check out the Stockli Storm Rider. That's a good option, although those are a little bit, you know, a little bit heavier feeling, and they're a little bit like they're really, really damp and very smooth feeling. But sometimes for little kids on skis, that can be tough. Honestly, if I could snap my fingers and it was a ski I was gonna ski with my kids on, I'd probably pick the Blackcrows Octo because it has a short turn radius and I could have a lot of fun, and it still does decently off trail. But again, like, it depends on where you're in Utah. If I was gonna be skiing Snowbird a lot, I bet you'll have a ton of fun on the Blackcrows Atris, so it's not a bad recommendation. I just don't have quite enough information. And like what age your kids are, all of that really plays a part. But hopefully I've at least given you a few options from my list now. Salomon QST 92, Salomon QST 98, Atomic Maverick 95, Meyer Wrangler, which is like a 93mm width underfoot, Blizzard Rustler, Nordic Enforcer 99. I hope that like gives you a good starting point, and then you could go try some stuff and just go based on what I just said. Watch those reviews, like make a list of what things you want the ski to prioritize. I want short turn radius. Okay, well then go with the Blackcrows Octo. I want it to be really damp and good at getting through crud and carrying at speed. Okay, then you probably want an Nordic Enforcer 99. Okay, I really want to just like have a Sendy powder ski, Blackcrow Atris. Just write down a list of what priorities you have out of your ski for characteristics, and then work backwards from there. I hope that helps, Towhead25. Thanks so much for commenting. Alright, and finally, this comment I'm digging from the archives. It's been living rent-free in my head for almost a year, and I realized that I never actually addressed it. This comment comes from Sokolva 11 months ago, almost a year ago. They said, have you considered signing up for this year's Blister Summit and recording or filming reviews while demoing tons of skis? It's the biggest event I know of for customers and reviewers to get tons of skis for big and small brands and get to do runs in Crested Butte with pro and industry skiers. So that would be a super cool thing to watch on this channel. I know signups are going on now. Great question. And actually, this is not the only demo thing I've been invited to. The guys over at Ski Essentials were nice enough to invite me over to Stowe to do their ski testing event, but I have turned down both of those offers, and here's why. First off, for the Blister Summit, you have to pay a $400 Summit Pass. That, based on the name, you think, oh, I'm getting a ski pass? No, that does not cover the ski pass. You also have to buy the ski pass, which I believe they say is $78 per day if you get the Epic 4-day pass. So, okay, what are you running there now? You're running like almost $300 for that. Then on top of that, you're paying $400 to Blister for access to skis, I guess, and for some panels. And then on top of that, you gotta pay for the lodging, which is not cheap. So, you know, this is all in all probably looking at like a, I would guess just conservatively with flight out there and travel and everything, it's probably conservatively about a $1,500 ordeal for me to go to Blister's panel and try a bunch of skis. The other reason I don't like this proposition or wouldn't do it is because, one, all these extra costs, but two, you're talking about 3 or 4 days to ski on a bunch of different skis. Conservatively, just to break even, I would need to demo, right, at $1,600. It costs me on average about, let's say, $50 a pair to demo. So I would need to review at least 32 skis in order for it to be worth it for me, just to break even from what it costs at my local shop. Then, on top of that, 32 divided by 4, that's 8 skis a day. That is cranking out ski reviews. I would not be able to get an accurate read on skis skiing 8 skis in a day. The most skis I've reviewed in a day was 4 pairs of skis because Rossignol does not want to send me any skis, so I went to my local demo shop at the mountain and they let you do as many as you want per day. So I got 4 pairs of Rossignol skis in a day, and even that was kind of pushing it. I found myself being like, well, I want to spend another run on the Sender 110, so I guess I'll spend one less run on the Forza 70. You see how these things start to kind of run into each other? Now, I can do 4 ski reviews in a day if I really push it, if I'm really like focused, I'm taking notes, I'm really dialed in, and especially at the end of the year when I've kind of got a system down. But even then, they end up being kind of like shorter mini reviews. It is not worth it to me in my mind, money-wise, and for the access I'll get or whatever, and you know, just paying Blister $400 for the opportunity to test skis, it's not worth it to me. I'd rather be able to take a full day, really get to know a ski, and give you guys a thorough review, and just be more limited in the number of reviews I can do, because I feel like a good ski review is really thorough. It tells you the good and the bad. It's not just rushing off and like giving it some random number. I have done it in the past where I did like, oh my god, how many skis did I do? About 10 or 11 skis the first time I ever did a review. It was like a demo day and I wrote it down, but that was written. It was a little bit different when it's written versus like recording, getting POV shots, giving you guys a real feel for how the ski feels, putting it in different conditions. Back then, all mountain skis were kind of a new thing. Really, things were more carving or powder, so you kind of could like do half as much time on each ski because you were just doing carved runs or powder runs. Now it's like, okay, this ski does both, so I need to like test it in a wide variety of terrain. On the flip side, for Ski Essentials offer, they were very generous. They're not going to charge me $400 to test skis. They just invited me to come out, do that event, make some content. The reason I didn't do it is because their testing event, I believe, is in March, mid-March, something like that, if I remember right. And for me, personally, here in Idaho, March is the best month of the year for snow. We had so many big storms. We had such good skiing. A lot of new brands were starting to send me skis directly midway through the year last year. And again, I would have had to spend a lot of money though to ski at Stowe. Stowe tickets are not cheap. On top of that, I could have stayed with family, but I would have had to get a plane ticket out there and a rental car and drive up. And, you know, with everything said and done, that was going to be about $1,000 to go leave a bunch of powder out here in the West, not be able to review some of the powder skis I had on my wait list, and go all the way out there just to ski Stowe in March. I love Stowe. I think it's the best ski area, or one of my favorite ski areas. In the east, it's up there with Jay Peak in my hometown of Burke, which I think Burke Mountain is great, but I'm biased. I like Stowe a lot. I would have loved to have skied with the Ski Essential guys. I've been wanting to collab with them for a while, but I just cannot justify missing the best snow of the year and flying all the way out to Vermont just to go ski Stowe, where the snow is objectively worse than it is in Idaho in the storm season. That's not a dig at Stowe, it's just like factual. We had so much snow. We got like 12 to 14 inches during one of the storms. There was a Tuesday where I was skiing on 11 inches of untouched powder, and everybody was, the mountain was midweek, so there's nobody up there. To me, it's not worth missing that kind of skiing in order to go and like try to just drill out a bunch of half-baked ski reviews in one day. So I do appreciate that Ski Essentials was really generous in that offer, and I do appreciate that Blister's event sounds really cool, especially if you're already from Colorado. But for me, like, I want to be really thorough with my ski reviews. I have like a standard that I kind of hold myself to when I'm reviewing products for you guys. It's more important to me that I'm thorough and being honest, rather than like, oh, well, I got all of these skis. The more skis, the better. It's like, to some extent, yes, it broadens your understanding of the ski industry, the more skis you can ski on, but I'm not willing to sacrifice the thoroughness and giving a ski a half-hearted review because I'm trying to pump out volume. So that's why I don't go to those events. I don't feel like testing a bunch of skis all at once is really fair to them. I'd rather give them their time. I can typically tell whether or not I like a ski inside of 2 or 3 runs, but I don't know, it doesn't make for good content and ends up being really, really rushed. So if you guys are ever wondering why I'm not going to all these demo events and trying a bunch of skis, if I had a local demo event that I could go to, or I know that like Brundage sometimes has them, and I've been trying to see how I can go. I guess I'm not connected enough, I haven't been able to. I'd love to go to those and just like pick a few skis that I've really been wanting to try that I haven't had access to. I'd love to go to those events and try a handful of skis, but I am not gonna like spend just a ton of money to go to Colorado and crank out a bunch of reviews. Not to mention too, like spending all that money to review a ton of skis versus like right now I have a bunch of brands that I'm working with who send me the skis where I can really be thorough and really give them their due time. So I'd rather prioritize those relationships, these people who want to send me skis, rather than like bending over backwards, spending a bunch of money just to get high volume. All right, the last comment comes from Jackie Onassis. They say, LOL, this is funny. Elliott, don't go soft now. Curated ski reviews sucked, and frankly, their customer service sucked. Yeah, that's the thing you always have to go back to. Like, I don't want to be overly harsh on people skiing, but when you're talking about the carving ability of the ski, then you have to at least be able to load up a downhill ski in order to like feel the full amount on the ski. And the end result, as much as it's like, well, you hurt my feelings talking about my skiing, it's like, okay, but you're also an accessory to a system that is not putting people on proper ski equipment, that is trying to use an algorithm or trying to like find ways to automate the process of fitting a ski on a person. And I will give people ski recommendations, but it is always like, go try these. Here's a handful to try and see what sticks and what you like. And I think that I always have to come back to that and remind myself like, okay, I'm picking on Curated for like this lack of understanding, but not in an effort to be like catty or mean. It's more because there are people who are intermediate or beginners who watch this content and go, oh, okay, yeah, I must need an Atomic Bent 110 as my daily driver, you know, somewhere that doesn't get a ton of snow. So anyway, it's not out of a place of like hate and cattiness, although I am very catty, I'll admit, but I'm more trying to wield it in an effort for good of like, hey, people need to know that this is baloney, and this is not good information for somebody who doesn't know better, and it's not good for consumers, it's not good for shops. A lot of people are kind of suffering as a result of this ignorance or this overconfidence when talking about skis. So I appreciate that, Jackie. Thank you for the reminder. I always am like, oh man, I should be nicer, I should go easier on people. And then it's like, oh yeah, there were a bunch of people who got really bad ski advice and maybe left the sport when, if they had a better fit, they could have really enjoyed it. People could have even gotten hurt, hypothetically. So yeah, it's a good reminder of like why I was doing it in the first place. Thank you, Jackie. So anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like this kind of content, please consider liking and subscribing. That's a free way to support the channel. I will also have lists, like every ski I talked about today, I will have down below in the affiliate links. I did find Atomic Bent 110s actually went on sale cheaper on Utah skis. I think they're about $4.99, something like that. I'll put them down below, but I did notice they went down slightly in price. I think they dropped about 30, 40, 50 bucks, something like that. So if you've been searching for that, Utah Skis also has been an incredible partner to work with. So I really like those guys over there. But as always, thanks for being here. If you want to become a member, we also have that. That's a way you can support the channel financially. But as always, what I really care about most of all is that you guys just take the time to watch my channel, watch my content, and that really means a ton to me, that you guys are just here and that you're enjoying the content. So, as always, thanks for being here, thanks for watching, and of course, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.